The Night House, new horror film starring Rebecca Hall, is out in theaters. I went to see it completely blind, knowing only the genre and the lead actress, and I have to say I was thoroughly impressed. I think it's a really solid film. The story centers around Beth, a high school teacher whose architect husband has just killed himself. He went out on the lake in their small boat and shot himself, leaving only a cryptic note. No further explanation, no warning signs, nothing. Beth is visibly struggling with depression and grief. She kind of misses her husband. She would kind of like to understand what drove him to it. She keeps watching old home videos, looking at pictures, drinking heavily each night before passing out. Very quickly, though, she begins having these weird, vivid dreams that make her believe there might actually be some sort of presence in the house, presumably the ghost of the dead husband. Prompted by some of the hints from that she remembers from the dreams, she begins going through his computer, his phone, his handwritten notes, and gradually she discovers that he did in fact keep secrets from her, secrets that appear to have had something to do with cheating and other women, but also something to do with the occult. So I think the best thing about the film is how it basically operates on two layers simultaneously. The first one is the literal horror, and the second one is a character study of someone paralyzed by grief and sorrow. And here's the interesting thing. As the film goes on, you wonder, okay, is this supernatural stuff happening really, or is it all in Beth's head? Which is something that a number of horror movies do. But then, as we learn more and more, you have to accept that in this particular situation, it's not either or, it's both at the same time. There is something truly weird going on, supernatural stuff, occult rituals, a dark presence, but there is also the internal stuff that Beth is going through, and each of them contributes to the feeling of dread. I think this is a tightrope to walk, trying to make both aspects of horror work in concert, but The Night House managed to pull it off thanks to the execution. First of all, Rebecca Hall is absolutely terrific as Beth. I think even if the other aspects of the film were weaker, she probably would have been able to carry it by herself by virtue of her performance. She's very layered in the role. On the one hand, yes, she clearly has issues. She's a broken woman. She's kind of unable to work through them. But she also has this inner strength about her that pushes her to find the truth. And that strength, there are moments where that strength manifests itself and you think, wow, lady, this is bold. I also rather enjoyed Sarah Goldberg as Claire, Beth's friend. I think she gives a good and understated performance, supporting performance that brings some much needed warmth to the story. Then we have the cinematography and editing, which are brilliant, along with the music and the sound design. There is one very memorable transition in the film where in what appears to be a single unbroken shot, it suddenly goes from very calm and quiet to absolute frantic chaos. Just superb scene. There are a few jump scares in the movie, effective ones, but what impressed me was how many of the scares work without the jump scares. Very often we are terrified not by what the movie shows us, any special effects or sudden loud noises or sudden monsters appearing, but by the absence of anything. The scene will get quiet and the camera will focus on negative space, implying that something is there, but never throwing that in our face, never actually making that explosion. We anticipate it because that's what we're used to from other horror films, that when it gets quiet there will suddenly be that bang. But the movie just keeps us on edge by maintaining that tense situation and never actually blowing it up. And without spoiling anything, that's also something very much in line with the plot details of the film. So I like this movie a lot. I think it's well thought out, very well executed. It has a stunning central performance and manages to tell a story that feels original and also, I think, lends itself to a lot of thinking and interpretation. Solid stuff.